Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renee Kranz. On today's show, we will have Michael Pauly here. He is the executive director of the South Dakota Catholic Conference. He's coming in to talk to us about the legislative session this year in Pierre, which will just be wrapping up, and his role there, what he does, and what bills we should maybe be aware of that were passed, not passed, whatever. It's a really good conversation. Michael Pauly is a very smart guy, really good to listen to, so I hope you'll stick around for that. We have another smart guy here.
Casey Bassett, everybody.
Yes.
Behind the scenes.
Also a smart guy. But we have Dr. Chris Bergwald here for some Biblical Bites with Dr. B. And I don't think Casey hooked up his microphone today.
I know. So. I just pushed it away, in fact.
He did. He's like, I'm not on.
You know what, Bill, I really I'm following and attentive to?
Which one?
Seeley.
Oh, well, yeah. I wondered, as soon as you said Bill, actually, that was the first place my mind went, was Bill Seeley, which is really terrifying. Bill Seeley.
So, what's on air we this weekend?
Third?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job. And we unusually are not getting a reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. We're in Matthew, year A, in the 3-year Sunday cycle, but this is one of those occasions, not too common, especially in year A with Matthew's gospel because of Matthew's length. But this is one of the occasions where we get John instead.
Does this happen when it gets switched out like this? Usually during a different liturgical season, like Lent or Advent.
Oh,
is that when that usually tends to happen?
Yeah, it tends to happen then.
Or a feast day of something.
It definitely could be a feast day.
Yeah.
Year B, we even in ordinary time, we get some John because year B is Mark's gospel.
And he's short.
And Mark's the shortest of the four. So we kind of fill him out. So in case folks haven't heard, when we've summarized this 3-year Sunday cycle, and the first year, year A, it's called, is predominantly from Matthew, year B predominantly from Mark, and year C, I hate it when I do that. A to C, A, B, C. Year C, the third year, is from Luke.
Right.
And so John is just filled in.
Sure.
Yes, in all 3 years, but especially in year B with Mark. With year A with Matthew, it's on occasion. Okay. Yes, usually. Although I think even, was it the second Sunday in Ordinary Time, we got John's account of the baptism of the Lord.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
But what we get this Sunday from John's Gospel is one of my favorite accounts, which is the Samaritan woman at the well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Casey, cue the map.
Map.
Can we green screen this and just for people as I'm like the weatherman, where I'm looking over here like it used to be before. So this is how the reading starts. Jesus came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of land that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there. Jesus, tired from his journey, sat down there at the well. It was about noon. So, and right now, to be honest, I can't remember. I don't remember if they're going north or south. But Jesus unusually takes his disciples through Samaria.
Right.
So
usually Jews do not walk through Samaria.
Because, Renee?
Because they are like sworn enemies.
Yeah, the Samaritans are the descendants of Israelites who had married in with foreigners. Right. This is centuries before Jesus, around the 8th century BC, when the Assyrian Empire had invaded part of Israel and deported many Israelites and imported a bunch of pagans. Mm-hmm. And they intermarried, and the religion of these intermarried people was a version of Judaism.
Oh, sure.
But kind of like a heretical, syncretistic version of Judaism, where it's got some Judaism, belief in Moses and the Messiah to come, but some other beliefs as well. So that's why Jews kind of look down on them even more than they look down on pagans, because it's sort of like Samaritans, being at least partially descended from Israelites, should know better.
Yeah, like they turn their back on their...
Yeah. So they don't get along, but Jesus... And so normally good Jews, observant Jews, would not even go through Samaria when they're going from Galilee up north to Judea in the south, which is where Jerusalem is. Jesus takes them through, and not only in that, so we're going to totally run out of time here. Jesus has a conversation with a Samaritan woman at noon. And what's unusual about this is normally you went to the well. They're at the well. Normally it was the woman's responsibility in the household to get the water from the well. But normally you went in the morning.
Right.
This woman goes at noon because she's an outcast among her people because she's been married, divorced, remarried 5-6 times. She's now living with a guy who's not her husband at all. Jesus talks to her. And for us as 21st century Americans, what's the big deal? No, this is a huge deal. Faithful Jewish men did not talk to Jewish women in public.
Right. Even when their husbands were there, is that right?
I think so.
At least alone.
At least
For sure
certainly
not alone.
This is a faithful Jewish man talking to a woman who's a Samaritan as well. Jesus is breaking the rules, and he's beginning to proclaim the gospel, not just to Jews, but to other people as well. In this case, the Samaritan. There's a lot more that could be said, but we'll leave it at that for today.
We'll have to do it next year.
There we go.
All right. Thanks, Dr. B.
You bet.